Hello and welcome to the TMC Newsroom. My name is Rich Tehrani. Thanks for watching us today. We're up in Boston this week and we're interviewing a number of leading companies in the New England area. And on our program today is Brian Kelly, who's the director of OEM Capital. The company is located in Southport.
Southport, Connecticut.
So thanks for being on the program.
My pleasure.
So I thought we'd start off by talking a little bit about your company and what it does.
Rich, OEM Capital is an investment banking M&A operation. Lower middle tier, been around for over 25 years, good successful track record. Focused on M&A, but also financing as well.
Okay, so one of the areas of focus is in the tech and telecom space, right?
Well, I've got about a 35-year history in telecom. I met you a couple of years ago when I was CEO of a little public company in the infrastructure space. But before that, going back over 30 years, I was with a company called Ty Communications. Ty was $4 million, based out of Stamford, Connecticut. Ty was a manufacturer of key systems. Ty went from $3 million in 1976 to $29 million in 1979 to $501 million in 1984. Now, that was fun. Growth is fun. It was also a public company. After Ty Communications, I did a couple of startups. Came back to Ty as exec VP. We did a restructuring of Ty because after it hit that peak of $501 million, it came down the other side of that mountain. And one of the things you learn about any business is that some of them can grow, but there can be a downside to that growth cycle. After that, I was CEO of Cognitronics Corporation, where I met you.
Sure.
I was retained to do a turnaround. We did a great job initially. I'll say got there in '94. Cognitronics manufactured voice processing equipment. 1997, you know, we were the #1 stock gainer on the American Stock Exchange. Stock went $3 to $19.
I remember seeing that actually.
It subsequently got up to $45 a share, almost 50, before that little bubble back in, what, 2000, 2001?
There was in the VoIP space at that time, there was a dual bubble. You had the companies like Franklin Telecom and Intertel and a few others that were part of the bubble of '97, and then that one kind of burst in '98, and then we saw a new bubble form. So you might have been immune from that.
Well, we were immune to that bubble because we caught the CLEC raise.
Sure.
So if you owned you bought a 5E switch and needed a piece of voice processing equipment to go along with it. So our sale, as every CLEC bought a 5E switch from someone, we sold another $40,000 box. It was good work if you can get it.
Yeah.
The problem with that, at one point, they stopped buying 5E switches. That was the problem. That happened gradually, but first gradually, then faster, starting around 2001. So I've been in the telecom space for 35 years. I've seen the ups, I've seen them plateau, and I've seen them come down. So, which brings me into the M&A business, because I think my experience is such that I can talk to a CEO who's considering where his growth is going. And essentially what OEM does is talk to people and look for clients that are concerned about their growth. Where are they going to go? Do they wake up in the morning and believe that 2 years from today they're going to be in the same place, a worse place, or a better place?
Right.
And if you're worried about if you don't think you're in a better place, then you've got to start looking at strategy.
Right.
And of course, the CEO's #1 job is to determine how to add value. And one of the aspects is either to buy, which is buy side, or to sell, which is sell side.
So you help companies with either?
We do that. We do evaluations. We'll help them in restructurings. We'll make them pretty, but because we're all operating guys as well. But you're dealing with a CEO who doesn't necessarily want your help, although he might need it. And some guys will actually say, show me what I have to do to be more valuable. That's where we can add real value.
So really advising as well?
Yeah, we talked before. Do you spend $1 million this year on marketing expenses or new sales expenses if you think you're a sell-side guy, or do you hold back on that expense and make the EBIT look better?
Right.
That's the kind of strategy you got to talk about. Sometimes you spend $1 million if you're planning to, because you might be adding the customers, the products, the channels that the right buyer will find attractive, and it can actually increase your value.
You also never know if that buyer is not going to give you the price that you want, and you may not be able to sell, right?
Well, it depends on a lot of things. Usually you can find a buyer. The question is, can you get your value?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, believe me, there's a buyer for everything. The question is, have we found enough buyers to give you an auction capability? I mean, enough people to show true interest. And there's a question of what the expectations of the seller is.
Right. Right, true.
Not every seller thinks his value. A lot of sellers think their value is higher than it is, but sometimes you can be surprised the other way. You can find better valuation than you considered.
Right.
but through the right process.
And generally an auction process is how you do this?
Not generally. I will say less than 50% do we want to go to auction. What you want to do is silently find 3 or 4 interested parties. And yeah, that's an auction process, though.
Okay,
So
to maximize the value.
you don't want one. I mean, you get one order and you love it, one offer you love it, that's unusual.
Right.
To get the best offer, you need to have a couple of guys.
Sure. Sure.
Nipping at you.
So the reason that a company should work with you is the experience that you've had in the tech space and the telecom space, and the fund itself, or the company itself has been in this space or has been in the financial space for many years as well.
OEM has been in the financial and technology space literally the entire life of the company. I've been involved over 35 years. I've run on 3 different public companies. We feel we've got a good handle on it. And it's a process. At the end of the day, you're running a process. You've got to work with that manager, develop the valuation, develop the selling story, develop a proposition, and then find the people that might be the best buyers for that company.
Excellent. Is there anything else that we should discuss?
No, just general trends. I'll say this.
Yeah, give me some trends.
General trends in the industry for the last year. I'll just look at my notes. I'm going to read this a little bit, so forgive me. But 2010 deal volume in the telecom industry is expected to end this year relatively flat compared to 2009. That's deal volume, the number of deal. However, the total transaction values already outpaces 2009 by 90%.
Wow.
So the total amount of dollars being spent this year will be double last year's. And there's some deals we talked about before. Carlisle buys CommScope for $4.5 million. Windstream buys QCOM for $818 million. Windstream buys another one. Buys Hosted Solutions here in Massachusetts for $310 million, and that's a $52 million company. So valuation isn't necessarily built on EBIT or EBITDA. Sure. It can be built on somebody really, really wants what you've got. Tyco acquired ADC, $1.9 billion. It's gone. So there's been a lot of large deals. Now there's also been...
Paytech's up here too. They're a carrier in this area, and they've been acquiring as well.
Constantly. They've been growing materially through acquisition for the last 3 years. Right. Now, having said that, I just did a search before I came up here. There's been over 100 other communication telecom type sales in the last 9 months. There's a lot of deals taking place.
That's great. Well, it sounds like a good time to pick up the phone and call you. And how does someone get a hold of you?
It's OEM Capital in Southport, Connecticut.
Fantastic.
We're in the book.
Thanks for being on the program. This was great.
Thanks.